Kia ora Year 9. This is the first of 6 or 7 videos that I'm going to do tonight going through the booklet on linear graphs. In this first video, we're going to look at how to find the gradient and the y-intercept of a straight line. And from there, we'll move on to looking at finding the equation and getting a little bit trickier from there. But in this video, what we're going to do is remember what's the gradient and how do I find it. So the gradient measures the steepness of a line, and the easiest way to find it is to use what we call blobby points, or what I call blobby points. So a blobby point is one where the point on the line is sitting on the corners of the squared paper. Okay, so it's not a fraction of the way in between. So all of those points that I've drawn with the purple pen are blobby points. Now I'm going to do some pink ones that are not blobby points. So that one there, not a blobby point. That one there, not a blobby point. This one also not a blobby point. This is not a blobby point. And because the line is straight, I can pick any two of those to measure how steep the line is. So we'll just get rid of those ones. So let's pick this one for my first one. I'll make the graph a bit bigger. And you can see that in this one, I could pick the point right here, which is very easy. And my question now is, how far have I gone out? And how far have I gone up or down? And when we write that, we usually talk about the change in the y values, because the y-axis is the up and down one, the vertical one, and the out is the change in x values, because the x-axis is the horizontal one. So we can draw in a very small triangle here, and we'll see that here we've gone out 1, so that's my bottom number, and we've gone down 1. So that gives me -1 over 1. And we write that as -1. So that's my answer for the first one. But just notice that I didn't have to use those 2 points. So we can do it again. Let's just see what happens if I pick this point and then this point here. Sometimes that's a good thing to do because it can make it a bit easier to draw, right, and to count. So we're going from here, and then we're going down to here. And you can see that I've gone out 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've gone down 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I did that calculation, the bottom number would be 4, and the top number would be -4, which again gives me -1. Okay, so that's the gradient for that first question. Now let's look at these next couple. We'll go a little bit faster now. So I've got a blobby point here. I've got another one here. Blowing up that graph a little bit so we can see it, you can see that I've gone out 1 here and up 2 here. So the gradient is going to be 1 for my bottom number first, so that's the out number here, and 2 up, which gives me a gradient of 2. In the third one, let's pick this point here, and then I'm just taking my pen and I'm going down here, looking for a blob, and there it is there. So for this one, the gradient is out 1 and down 3. That gives me a gradient of -3. Okay, just taking a step back, before we work out the gradient, it's always a good thing to do to say, is it going to be a positive or a negative gradient? So my answers here are -1, 2, and -3. Notice that the negative gradients, if you're going from left to right on the page, it looks like we're going down the hill. Right here we're going up the hill, down the hill, so it's a negative gradient. And the first one is also a negative gradient. Right, a few more to do, and they're going to get a little bit harder, but the idea is still the same. So we'll start here. Here's my blobby point here. Let's have a wee look. Is that actually a blobby point? No, it's not. Right, so let's just be careful when we're looking. Make sure that we really are on a blobby point or a vertex, right? So I'm going to start my pen here, and I'm looking to see, where's the blobby point? Well, that's no good, that's no good, that's no good, that's one there. And then I have to keep working my way along here until I get to this one here. So I've got a bigger triangle to draw in. I'm going out 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going up 3. So the gradient here will have 4 for the horizontal change and 3 for the vertical. So my gradient will be 3/4 for that one. Let's look at this one now. Right, I can see a blob there, and I'll keep tracking down this way until I see another one. There's the next one, right? So carefully drawing that in and counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 2. So the gradient here is -2/5. Right, what's next? Let's just check that we've got that right. Yep, that looks good. I know one of you is going to tell me if I've got these wrong. Let's see. Here's a point here. And here's another point here. Out 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 1. So 3 here and up 1. So the gradient here is 1/3. Right, I just want to have a look at whether this is right. This middle one is troubling me a little bit. I'm just going to check it. So I'm going to pick another 2 blobby points. And you can see this time I'm starting up over here, and I can see that that's no good, this is no good, this is no good, this is no good. There's a point there. And then you can see that this one here is not a blobby point, right? So you just have to be a little bit careful with that. And there's the next one there. Yep, so we did have it right. Okay, so we've gone out 5 and down 2. Good, okay. Now the last 3 in the gradient section are a little bit funny. I'm going to try and grab my ruler and show you that line more clearly. So the line we're looking at here is hard to see on the graph, but it's a horizontal line. And for this one, if I pick any 2 blobby points, then the change in the vertical distance is 0. So it's going to be 0 divided by anything. So I could pick this and this one, and my bottom number here would be that I've gone out. Let's see, out 4. So 0 divided by any number gives me 0. So the gradient of a horizontal line is 0. What about when I've got a vertical line? Well, this is one that we need to think about a little bit more. If I have any 2 blobby points here, and I try to measure my triangle, then there's been no change in my in how far I've gone across. So that would have 0 in the bottom line, and then I would have any number in the top one. For example, I might try and have 6 divided by 0, but we can't divide by 0. So what we say when we've got a vertical line is that the gradient is not defined or undefined. And this last one is just another tricky fractions one where we have to watch that we've found the blobby points. So this shouldn't feel too bad. So let's take a look and see where they are. That looks like one there. That's a bit too far under. Let's keep on going. Might make this a wee bit bigger. One there. And then where's my next one? Here we are. There's one here. Just let's have a look. Let's check that that really is the point that we want. I can't see any in between. That there is not quite. So now we're going to do this humongous triangle. What have we got here? So counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the gradient here is 7/8. Let's just check that we're happy. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to do the next thing, which is actually easier, which is the y-intercept. We have to find the y-intercept of each of these lines. So this time we've got graph axes put in here. And remember that we could find the coordinates of any of these points on the curve. It's easiest to find the integer value ones, but there are coordinates for any place on that line. The y-intercept is the place where it crosses the vertical axis, right? So in here, I'm just going to put the y-axis in purple so we can see what's going on. The point marked with the big pink dot is the y-intercept. And so the y-intercept in here is -3. Sometimes we write that as 0, -3. In here, the line crosses the vertical axis, the y-axis, when y is 2. So the y-intercept is 2. We could write that point as 0, 2. And in the last one, it crosses here, and it crosses at 0, 5, or we could say that the y-intercept was 5. Let's just do the next ones quickly. Now the last one of these is quite tricky, and we have to use a bit more reasoning to get it. But the third one is fast. The y-intercept here is 3. And in the fourth one, the y-intercept is -2. Now the last one is funny because we haven't got the axis going far enough up, but we can imagine where that goes to, and we can use just a little bit of logic. So in this one, we're going to use the ideas about the slope to see what's happening. If we look at what's happening with the straight line, every time we go back 1, we're going up 2. So here we go back 1 and we get up 2 more, and that takes me out to 4. So if you can imagine what's going to happen with that line and where it's going to cross, we can get it by counting back. But this is harder than we'd expect you to do for core year 9, right? But it's not, if you've got the idea of gradient and y-intercept, you can see how it works. So here, we're going back 1 and we'll go up 2. That would take me to 6. And then I do it one more time, back 1 and up 2, and I'd get to 8. So the y-intercept in this one is 8. All right, that's all I'm doing for this video because that's already pretty long, 11 minutes. Hopefully that helps solidify the basics of finding the gradient and the y-intercept. In the next video, I'm moving on to writing the equation using those two things.